Greetings, Mountaineer fans. This is West Virginia Live on the Voice of College Football, the West Virginia channel. Eric, you made it through the weekend.
I
made it
did.
through the weekend. What are your thoughts on that wonderful trip to Florida that Rich Rod and company made?
Oh, that was rough.
It
That
was
was
rough.
that was like the first 2 years of eighth grade for me. Now the third year got easier, but yeah, that was rough this weekend.
It's like getting a lap dance from a stripper with sandpaper pants. That's how bad it was. Guys, everybody is have like literally. Yesterday, I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching all these other podcasters put out content for West Virginia, and I have nothing to say because it was really difficult to watch, but I had to watch it the whole way through. Felt like one of those medical students, watching a surgery and you're kind of a little squeamish. There was really not a lot to be optimistic about. When we talked last, what was it, Thursday on the live show, Colin show, we were like, hey, the glass is half full. There's a couple games West Virginia can win. Do you still feel that West Virginia can win a game? Or are they going to go 2 and what do you think, Eric?
You're talking to yeah. They may take away a win after this past weekend. They may go back and say, no, you're not even going to come away with 2.
Yeah. So, but before we get really into the show tonight, I have to say, the people that are calling for Rich Rod's head, come on, guys, really? Because you know what? They kept Dana a few years past his expiration date. They kept old Neil Brown a little longer than they should. You don't pull the plug on year 0. Like year 3, year 4, if you're still having like 2 years that you're 2 for you 10, 3 and guys, it's not, if you lose Rich Rod or fire him or whatever the hell you want to do, you lose that pocketbook, those purses shut, that pot of money goes away, and you have less to work with. So just hang on a minute. Don't fret. So, Eric, I want to ask you another thing. I'm in a situation, I need some advice. I have season tickets. I have a friend maybe coming in for a Colorado game he lives in Oklahoma. So I'd have to go to that one. If you only lived 15 minutes from the stadium, but if you lived, say, 2 hours and 10 minutes from the stadium, that makes for a long day. Would you go to the TCU game since it's now it's a 3:00 kickoff, right? That's a nice time. You can see the lights in the fourth quarter and all that. Or just be lazy, fat and lazy. Maybe make some soups, some wings. Just sit at home and watch West Virginia get their teeth bashed in. Decision. What would you do?
So this is a little difficult for me to answer honestly because I'm already fat and lazy. Like you said, I'm 15 minutes from the stadium, and I stay home to watch the game so I can text with all my buddies, and I don't have to share the bathroom with 65,000 of my closest friends. But I hate to say it, I'm going to piggyback on something you said a little earlier. We're living with some legacy issues right now, so don't blame all this on Rich. The big thing we did with Dana is that we kept extending his contract for short interims, and Dana couldn't get any talent. He had to go to JUCOs. So for a while there, all we have were JUCOs coming in, and the first year they would take to learn the system, and the next year they'd play and do good, but then they were gone. So that really drove the program down. And notice I said something there. Even back then when you'd bring JUCOs in, they took the first year to learn the system. We're still doing that this year coming in. And I don't know how you fix that, but that's the modern world that everyone and the modern problem that everybody's facing, all the programs, but it's still a problem. The next problem we had is that when Neil Brown took over, Neil Brown came in and the talent level overall was not there. Yeah. So Neil did his best to pick things up. Not going to get too far down the criticism of Neil's career, but like you said, I think we waited too long to call it quits on that coaching relationship. And quite honestly, we lost a lot of the support that we now have back with Rich. So for good or bad, we need this to work out with Rich. At least give it a good shot because, like you said, to compete in this modern world of professional college football, you got to have support. So that being said, jumping back to your real question, which is, I would go to the game if you got a buddy. It's a pretty good time, even if we're not going to be great. The tailgating is always fun. To borrow from again picking on Neil, go to the game, enjoy the tailgate, enjoy that experience. Especially like on a game like this weekend with TCU, it's going to be a night game. Those are always fun. We're going to have the Coal Rush unis. Man, I'm a big fan of those. I think they look awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go.
If you can do that, man, go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. There's some, it's at that point where I am a fan that I'm on this platform here, Voice of College Football, and I talk every week about Mountaineer sports. And I don't think I'm a super fan like I was 20 years ago, where literally like every day I was all I could. I have other things in my life going on, so it's not like I eat, breathe, and poop Mountaineer sports, but I am a fan and a diehard fan. The casual fan are the ones that are going to be dropping off like flies. Those folks, you're going to lose them. So let's go to the chat. I think Coop's in the house. I'm pretty sure Afton's in here too. Coop says, let's go. Yeah, we switched sides. I flipped it because, Eric looks a little better over there. So, hey, Afton, how you doing? But
hey, Shane, thanks for switching me. I can use all the help I get. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, we're just playing with the format a little bit. But no, it is what it is, Coop. Yeah, we switched sides, brother. But Afton's in the house here. She says, hi, guys. And then she has a laugh emoji. But I just go for free food at the suite. Yeah, if there was free food and it was like a nice catered, maybe one of the booths, or I've been to the tournament in Auburn Hills. I think it was like 08 or 09, the NCAA tournament. And I sat in one of those booths for the NCAA tournament. And they brought out like food, and then 2 games later, they brought out some more food. And then after that, they brought a dessert cart. I pigged out, man. But yeah, it's always good to have the catered food. But no, I'll probably go to a friend's tailgate and then swing over to the game, which is right over in the light blue lot. But yeah, touchdown. Coop's in the touchdown terrace. There you go, Coop. Well, you gotta smuggle me some food. I'm in section 131, like row 20. So hit me up. Now, back to, let's just talk about the Big 12, the health of the conference. What do you think? I mean, we could talk X's and O's. That horse has been beat. Preston Fox looked bad for a little bit. Looked good at times. His throws were really just flat, not behind the receiver. There was no long balls. I mean, there were so many things wrong. We'll get back to that. But overall, I was very excited at the quality of football that the Big 12 is putting out there. Did you get to watch any Big 12 games this week?
I did. And I tell you, they were phenomenal. Even the ones that weren't close for most of the game, when the game started drawing to an end, the other, you saw games tighten up in a hurry. BYU was that way. Good grief. There were so many. Now, that's one thing that's a good thing and a bad thing about the Big 12. Because we have so much parity, we tend to cannibalize each other, and that hurts us. Texas Tech fell prey to that. But, kudos to Arizona State. They really put together a hell of a game.
Yeah, and coming up this week, you have Kansas State and Kansas. Then Iowa State plays BYU. I was just looking at this earlier. Oklahoma State plays Texas Tech. Oklahoma State's 1-6, but hey, could Texas Tech have a hangover? Texas Tech is the one that I did not even think that was going to happen. That wasn't even on the probability. Now, the Miami Louisville, I told you guys on Thursday, this is an upset. This upset alert. I didn't say they were going to upset, but I said this is a game that has that feeling. And sure enough, it happened. But, Baylor plays Cincinnati. Baylor's 4-3, and they're playing the Cincinnati team that's 6-1. Baylor has every opportunity. They have a chance to win this. This isn't just, just because they're 4-3. Everything's competitive. And, of course, you have a 5-2 TCU team that's still in contention for a Big 12 championship. And, of course, Houston and Arizona State. Arizona State's back in the top 25 at 24 at 5-2. Colorado and Utah. Don't sleep on Deion Sanders. I'm just telling you, Utah is nursing that loss. They played BYU close. I don't know. It's crazy. The Big 12 is very entertaining. I'm happy that West Virginia's in this conference. Now, I just wish that Texas Tech could have kind of hung on. Now BYU is the only undefeated team. Any additional thoughts on that, Eric? Like what stands out to you? Like who's your front runner now?
For the Big 12, I'm still sticking with BYU. That was my call at the beginning of the year. Whereas I completely botched the call with West Virginia. I didn't completely. There were a lot of big plays. The problem was they were all with UCF. But no, I really like BYU. I don't think Texas Tech is done by a long shot. I think they kind of got caught napping a little bit. But I think that it's going to come down to those two schools.
Yeah, BYU is kind of like my Big 12 whoopee. Like I watch it and just pretend that was my. I'm like one of those 50-year-old women that sit and watch Lifetime channel and wish their lives kind of turned out like the Hallmark channels and shit like that. I sit there and watch BYU. I'm like, oh, that pass was so great. Wouldn't it be dreamy if we were that good? Oh, I just feel like a big dirtbag kind of. Feel dirty, but I get my kicks out of watching BYU be successful. I feel it. I think Texas Tech and BYU are going to be in the mix. Don't forget you got Arizona State, TCU still hanging around. I think it's going to be a 3-horse race with BYU, Texas Tech, and then I don't know who the third team is going to be, but let's see what Coop says.
Let's see what Coop says.
Oh, you're being a smart ass, Coop. That's not going to happen. So for people listening, he has West Virginia versus Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship. He's trolling us.
Maybe in a few years.
So,
and Shane, just to be fair, that scenario you described with the Hallmark Channel, that's most guys in my age demographic watching Duck Dynasty. We all have our forms of dreams. So yeah.
Oh, it's like the Golden Bachelor and all that stuff is just targeted to people that are just like, I don't know. So that's what's happening in Shane's house at 10 o'clock at night, or like 2 weeks ago it was like 1 a.m. I'm sitting there like, it's just good. I'm starting to know some of the players, who's on the roster, and I have some favorites, and the play calling is fun. It's just not grind them out, boring football. I grew up watching Big 10 football, and it's just like then watching the Big 12 and, growing up watching the Big East too. It's nice to see that the Big 12 has such a competitive cast of teams, But moving on, let's talk about quarterbacks. Or lack of quarterbacks. West Virginia is in a pickle, and we all know the situation. Quarterback 1, Nico's has a hurt feelings. Quarterback 2 is out. They're on 3, 4 and 5, 3 and 4, however you want to mix it. But they're in the, most guys in 3rd, 4th string, they maybe will pick a splinter out of their ass. They're not literally getting turf in their helmet. and you have cats that have no reason playing ball this year for these freshmen, taking snaps and starting games. You've had Nico start, you've had Malik start, you've had Fox. Who else started? Someone started between there.
Khalil started, Jalen started, Scotty has started. The only one we haven't seen start is Max, and for some reason he didn't get in last game. I didn't understand that, but
Max, I think, is the most capable thrower out of the three that are there. Like he's played in SEC games, won a couple. I mean, he must be hurt. There must be an injury there. We know Edwards is now has a serious hip injury. Do you think? I'm like a conspiracy theorist guy now. Like everybody is pulling the DeVries. Is it legit, or is he just trying to get a extra year? I mean, I think it's legit.
I think it's legit too. He tried playing. He tried playing the last game he was in, and you could see he just couldn't go. But he did try. He suited up and he tried. And I remember I remember seeing him one play, and it was a short yardage play where he was going to have to take on a few guys and just grind it out and do some serious pushing of the pile. And you could tell he just couldn't. So yeah, no, I don't fault him a bit.
No, I get it. So, yeah, I think, but I feel like a dirtball every time I see someone, hurt. I think, well, it's either a timeout so they can get the plays called at the end of the game, right? Like, oh, they're pulling a pit. Oh, coach, I got hurt feelings. Having pains in my elbow. Oh, hurt feelings. And the coach is like, takes the paper and he's like, we're gonna run a wildcat. And then he it's just shady pool. But
well, that stuff's real. That stuff is real.
It's ruined it for me. But Pitt has turned a corner and is winning. Which makes it kind of ironic that if West Virginia goes 2 wins for the season, one of those wins is Pitt, and Pitt has a good year. That kind of puts like a little salt in the wound for old Pitt, right? Like, that was a garbage West Virginia team that beat you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Coop is saying, my favorite hurt second game, Jaheim White. Yeah. That was his favorite, and he was on a lot of our thumbnails. Jaheim White, Pat White, Noel Devine suit up. I don't know. I don't think that they would be any better because they're older. I mean, they don't have that pop probably, but they'd be able to, the read option. He'd be able to see what's going on. I see him over there coaching kids up. I like that, but I don't know, Eric. So here's the big question. We'll go into the nuts and bolts here a little bit. Do you think West Virginia can pull out one win for the rest of the year? Just one win that we can hang our hat on.
Well, a couple things. I think Rashid could still go. I don't know if he has any eligibility, but Rashid looks like he could still play. Now, Pat and Noel are they're papas, so they got a lot of competing priorities. But anyway, honestly, no, I don't. The joke I had this weekend was, unless somebody forfeits, the answer is no. Does that mean that that's the way it's going to be? No, we can always, magic sometimes happens. Do I think it's going to? No. To be quite honest, I still think, I know it's a long shot. I do think TCU something crazy could happen, and Houston something crazy could happen. But I don't see Colorado having a letdown game, and I don't see Texas Tech sleeping on us. They're going to be trying, especially now, they're going to be trying to get back into the championship.
No, absolutely. Texas Tech is going to curb stomp West Virginia. I think I'm going to flip from TCU. I think TCU is going to manhandle West Virginia. I think they're still trying to figure things out. I know it's half past the halfway point, I think Colorado, some things start to line up, and I think that's where there might be a possibility in Houston. Those are the two that you might have like a 35% chance and maybe a 50% chance. But other than that,
50%.
I'm giving a 50 because I think the odds of losing every game. I mean, look at the games that have transpired in the Big 12. There have been some close games you didn't think were going to be close. Now, looking back, Cincinnati and UCF weren't that far off on each other. But let's go to chat and see what Ronald has to say. Up or down season, there'll be support for these young men against TCU. I firmly believe not a single player or coach walks on the field with the goal of losing. Absolutely. You don't get up today and say, you know what? Brushing my teeth, going to have a bad day. No, we don't do that. We won't put our shoes and socks on. You do the whole Fred Rogers thing. You put your socks and shoes on. It's a good feeling. You know, that's what you do. You know, it's just it's optimistic. You get up because you think you're the baddest dude on the planet and you want to go play some ball. And that's what these kids are doing. And you have a ball coach that has coached for 25 years. I still think he can. And in the press were asking Rich Rod, can you massage this? Can you kind of work these guys? And absolutely, he has a little bit of juice. But he did say this. Ronald, he did say this, and this bothered me, and this is in our thumbnail title. This is the best we got. What were your thoughts when he said that, Eric?
I was actually really impressed with him. So I want to piggyback because you know me, I got to rewind everything.
I just spout out all kinds of nonsense, and then you got to kind of sift through it.
Well, to Ronald's point, these guys, even if they are writing this season off, everybody except for those without any eligibility left at the end of the season, everybody's looking to get film footage. Everybody's wanting to make, their talents visible on the field. They want to do well. And I agree with you. They want to compete. So the notion that they're not going to try their hardest and keep going, because quite honestly, even in that UCF game, I saw I didn't see us really have a letdown until later in the game. They were fighting the whole way through as long as they could. And I expect that to happen for the rest of the season. And I think that's what Rich was echoing in his words. That, look, it's not a matter of not having the best talent on the field, not having the guys who have the most fire in their belly. This is the people on the field. That's who we got. And I think that's what his point was. It was just that simple. This is the best we have right now. And, for what it is, Rich knows his job is on the line. I mean, it's a little early to say that, but every coach knows that every year, year in, year out, you're going to be brutally criticized. And so, look, win, lose, or draw, they want to make sure their team is fighting and they're playing the best it can.
And Mountaineer fans, for the most part of their lives, have been spoiled. I'm telling you, just go back 40 years. They've won most of the games they played against Pitt. They've been competitive in the Big East. They've been first half of their tenure in the Big 12. They've been competitive. Won some games against Texas, Texas Tech here and there, and we're just spoiled. But, there were some highlights. They just couldn't tie series together. For example, those 2 fourth down touchdowns were big. They looked good. The defense was holding firm, and those 4th down touchdowns just absolutely wreck you. And it was competitive until the third quarter, and then it just seemed like they had more ass to them, and they had, I'm not even saying better condition, but I've seen that with high school, where another team might be a little deeper. The talent level's been pretty comparable. But if they can rotate in a couple guys that are fresh, they're right at that level, it makes for a long third, fourth quarter. And that's where they started pulling away. Also, some big plays happened. And big plays will break your spirit. Now, West Virginia did bounce back a little bit and look a little like they had some sass to them, but they just couldn't get any ass behind it and didn't put 7 points on the board. The passes, were not very accurate behind receivers. Receivers had no chance of making those catches, as your notes pointed out, in the flats, the short yardage stuff. Can't get the short yards, you can't get the long. He wasn't getting time to really throw the ball. Also, when the pocket collapsed, these I don't know if it's because they're freshman quarterbacks playing the first time in college. It seemed like their awareness of where they were, it just collapsed on them. They couldn't pop out and break that around to the end there and gain 6, 8, 10 yards. Eric, if you had one, magic one, I dream of genie, Barbara Eden, dating ourselves. If you could change one thing, fix one thing immediately before this week and next week, what would you fix on Westford? What side of the ball? Would it be offense, defense, O-line, secondary, quarterback, running back? What would you fix?
We are good enough everywhere to win games. Maybe not a lot, but one exception is the offensive line. And that is killing us all the way around. If you're running a tempo offense, which I think Rich is making a statement, and he's pretty good at that without actually having to say it. He's running tempo, and everybody's yelling at him, slow it down, slow it down. And Rich is like, no.
He has to.
That is how this offense works. Even if we can't execute the plays, we're going to run tempo. And the problem is that the defense is shot because they're worn out. If you could get a sustained drive where you could just move the chains, and like you're saying, they know what to try. The short yardage is the way to go. However, if you can't get that ball, if you're throwing in the flat and you're not throwing that ball with some heat, and if you're not accurate as can be with it, that's a pick six. Yeah. If you throw it like your short slant, which I'd like to see a little bit more of that, that's another shot. That's another try. But when we got to throw short passes to open up running lanes and to open up any chance of a longer pass route, that's a sign that your offensive line is having trouble keeping the defenders out of the backfield. And right now we're seeing that. The defenses we're facing, they're loading up that box with 8, 9 guys, and they're just pinning their ears back and bringing it. And when they're doing that, normally you burn them. You burn them on a quick route, and it's not a problem. But the problem is we can't complete that because we haven't had enough success with pretty much anything. If you could sustain some drives, if you can get one of your quarterbacks to have some success in the passing game, such that they can have the confidence when these guys come bringing the rush, they can calmly sit back there, hit something over the middle, and burn the defense a few times. That defense will stop sending 9 guys. It'll happen. We're just not there yet. And the thing we need that would fix everything else, offensive line.
I think you're spot on, and I think that's why Rich Rod started, Fox there. So, hoping that he could make a couple of those passes, and if he had to, maybe escape and elude some of that collapsing defense, because he's a little bit of best of both worlds. Where, it's just he's picking his poison. It's gonna get you eventually, but you have to try to see what exactly, how is West Virginia gonna get scored on. And being able to keep them honest by getting the ball down, even if like they threw it down the middle, if they had a cover 2 and right in the seam. Anyways. So this.
Well, let me ask you. Can I hit you with a question?
Shoot.
What would you choose to change? And then I got another question to follow up with that. I'm sorry. What's your thoughts, man? What would you change?
I would. You hit on the head. Offensive line all day long. I mean, I would be beating on the football tree, and hoping some 290-pound, 6'3" super athletic guys just fall from the sky. Shaking that tree. Give me some Zach Frazier's. Give me some Wyatt Milton's, please, football tree.
You're right, and that's the problem, is that there's just not a lot of those guys out there. So this is a loaded question, and I've got I got asked this question this week, and I thought it was fantastic. I wanted to ask you, and I've got an opinion on it. Do you think Rich is doing what else do you think Rich could be doing that would be best for this team this year, uh, and for that matter, for the program? Do you think he should be doing anything different?
I like the fact that, see, when James Franklin lost, he would blame, he said, well, this guy played bad, this guy played bad. And then all of a sudden he says, well, ultimately responsibility falls on me. Rich Rod came out and says, we didn't coach them very good. They weren't prepared. They weren't very fast. He didn't sell it like he was blaming someone. Then all of a sudden it came across sincere, like, hey, guys, we're not very good. And there's no excuse for it. We're gonna do better. We're gonna roll our sleeves up and try to get them to where they need to be. We all know. We talked about this for weeks. They don't have power for talent. They don't. The Mountaineers are, maybe if you played Kent State and you played, Middle Tennessee State, Southern Illinois, James Madison, these are teams that West Virginia would be competitive with and win. They're not going to be competitive with TCU, with Texas Tech, with Baylor, because he literally went to the cupboard. The cupboards were bare. Can't go out to buy anything. There's a snowstorm. It is what it is. I mean, it's just, and he said it. This is the best we got. This is the best we got. That hit me like a punch in the back of the head, and it's like, and everything became clear. And I understand. I've been saying it. I believed it when I watched them play that first game. The Mountaineers play the first game. When I watched them play the second game, in my mind, I'm thinking these guys aren't, the offensive line is getting pushed around for playing, smaller a team that's supposed to be 20, 30 pounds per kid smaller, but they're getting pushed around. This is not good. But Mountaineers beat Pitt, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's going to be all right. Roses and sunshine. I got a motivational enema, sunshine, blue and gold butt wash of sunshine up my butt, all excited, jumping around. Woo, we beat Pitt. I got wrapped up. And I talked myself out of the fact that this is a team in year zero. But sorry about that.
What are you sorry about, man? That was great.
You want to have hope. You want to hang on to hope. You want to think, oh my, we can. Every Cinderella team in basketball that makes it into the tournament thinks that they can just upset one more guy. And that's the mentality I had, since Pitt. Well, you beat Pitt. Pitt's winning ball games. What makes us able to, why can't we just do that again? Rinse and repeat. Because we don't have Nico. Because the Mountaineers don't have Edwards. Because the Mountaineers don't have, because they don't have. This is what we got.
This is. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
So I agree with you. We don't have, I'll slightly change the statement. We don't have enough power forward talent.
True.
And a lot of what we did have, especially our better talent, has gotten injured. It's been a horrific year for injuries. And granted, maybe some of those aren't as medically concrete as maybe business concrete, and that's fine. But we don't have enough power forward talent. And so the notion, like, what happened? Why can we beat Pitt? Well, Ty Edwards put on a game that was it was a whole season highlight film in one game. Unfortunately, he got injured in that game. So you lost a back that had the ability to make people miss in the backfield, and somebody who could carry a few guys through the holes with him. And so the notion at that point, you can't just have everybody bringing pressure. You got to leave some guys at home on the defensive line. And that's what we've been saying. Mm-hmm. So what could we be doing differently to get wins. And I think the answer right now is they're doing everything they can. This is the best we have as far as talent wise. There's nobody. There, like you said, the football tree ain't hiding anybody. There's we don't have another Lester hiding in the stands. So at this point, you try to take some shots, and I'm actually pretty impressed that they're being as aggressive as they can without being foolish. Because could you throw some other guys in there? Yeah, you can. And that'll silence a few critics who are saying, try this guy, try that guy. Problem is, if you throw somebody in there who's an even higher risk, now the scores that you lose by are even worse.
Yeah, you're not.
And it doesn't
fuel the fire. It's not good.
Exactly. You're not helping the team this year, and you're not helping the program for future years. So right now, you're playing the guys that you think have a chance for next season. That you're still looking for combinations. You're looking to see what can we build on still, and that's what I'm seeing. It's just a matter of you got guys who are playing their guts out for the most part, and this is all the better we can do right now. Now, if we catch lightning in a bottle and we can string together a few plays in a row, we actually can probably do a few things. Because I looked at the UCF game, and like you said, the defense was doing pretty well. Then you have a letdown on fourth down. Our secondary just completely zoned out, and they completely blown coverage plays, and that killed us. The explosive play that is the explosive play.
Yeah.
If we could catch lightning in a bottle, put a couple of those together, anything can happen. But until we do, defenses are just going to keep pounding us up on the front line.
I have a question for you. When was the last time you were in a mountain lair?
Oh gosh,
mine had to be 2000.
I was going to say probably 10 years for me.
Okay. Now I don't even know what restaurants are in the mountain lair, or if they have restaurants, because everything delivers now. But I was just thinking that this cat was probably working at the mountain lair, and they just found him. And you said, when we talked about him, you're like, yeah, this cat is the guy that they get to throw the ball in practice so the coaches don't have to. And I've seen him on a sideline with clipboard. Do you think there's any? Is this rumor valid? Is this just a rumor? Is this kid getting reps? I'm asking you, Eric. What do you think? What do you think? Is this legit?
I think that, like you said, this guy, if you've been paying attention to the games, this is the guy you have seen him with the headset on. He's walking around the clipboard. He's got the vest thing on. They didn't, make this guy up. And yeah, they give away scholarships, believe it or not, to throw passes during practice. But this isn't the guy. I think this is Rich is playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers. He's leaking this out. The real guy they're going to try this weekend is a guy by the name of Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, or Chad Powers. That's a fun show. I like watching that. I don't know why people can't see the makeup, but that's what makes it so funny. It's like those Rodney Dangerfield's one of his last movies, Ladybugs. You remember that? Where he coached soccer, he messed up a boy. No, seriously, guys, you have to keep things light, and this just made me happy. We talked about this. This is the little thing that keeps me just laughing, because you have to laugh, because guess what? In a year, 2 years, we're gonna look back on this, be like, boy, that was rough. But now we're playing for bowl games. Rich Rod has some, but you can't shit on these kids. We can't be, because today's day and age, this isn't the papers. You don't have some kid, not high school, but some 18, 20-year-old kid writing an article that's going to be in the DA. Everyone has a platform. Everyone sees what's written. They tell these kids not to read social media, not to get on, but they do. And it has to hurt their feelings a little bit. And I'm not in the feeling, I'm not in the business of making people feel good. But at the end of the day, these are young men. And if you want to win, You got to build them up, not cut them down. So with that, try to be as positive as you can. Don't shit all over them, because these are, I don't know, you have kids, I have kids. I always think, okay, if I'm that kid's parent, how would I want them to be treated? But so with Scott, I think he's a good kid. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, I wish I was 6'2", 200 pounds. Handsome kid. I'm sure he can ball out. We're not dogging on you. If you do get in, I hope you smoke people. I hope you just sit there and just light it up like Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite. Just boom, boom, boom. Just light it up, kid. Eric, if this kid plays, what are you going to do? I mean, literally, like.
Why not? Give him a shot. And I think that is one of the most brilliant parts of what Rich is doing right now. Without the ability to have, say, a big school budget, one of the ways you can attract kids and keep players is to give them playing time, give them time on the field, give them game experience. That helps them build a resume. Helps keep them motivated. That is the way to do this. And something I got to point out, when Dana was here, I don't know if people remember, we literally had coaches throwing passes during practice. And we ended up pulling a kid from Kentucky's team and gave him a scholarship to come up here. When I say that they're throwing passes in practice, it's not like they're sitting around just kind of lollygagging. No, you got to be able to build that that receiving core. You got to be able to throw that ball with some zip and with some accuracy, because every rotation, those guys are expecting to get better. So, look, if he couldn't throw the ball, he wouldn't be out there. I'd love to see him get on the field. Why not? At this point, what could it hurt? I just hope he stays safe, and I'd like to see him have a little bit more meat on his bones, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, I just hope he doesn't come out like with, like a big bubble wrap helmet, like huge, face mask. I'm joking, but no, I'm excited. It's a great story. It's a great story. It's one of those things that they show on ESPN or Fox. That's like the story at halftime, or like between games. It's like, oh, this warms your heart. Then he like gives backpacks to kids in a school that got blown away in a hurricane or something. Just something nice. With that, I want to tell everyone, I really appreciate all the participation we have on the Thursday show. It's great that you guys pop in. It's a lot of fun, especially because if you put something in a comment, even a thumbs up, it helps us. If you give us a thumbs up on the channel, it helps us even more. You can say, Shane, you suck. That'll still help our algorithm. So participate. Type it. I know you both thumbs work. I am a one thumb typer. Are you a two thumb typer or a one thumb typer, Eric?
I at one point had teenage girls, so yeah, I got to learn to do it too. You got to keep up.
That amazes me. That amazes me. That's like, I am this guy, So with that, guys, we are the show that's not a show, but we're a show. And we're on every Monday at 9. And this is let me take this down. Poor Scott. Sorry, Scott. So this is the West Virginia Live on the Voice of College Football West Virginia channel. And if you are a fan of another team, you can, do what I was doing, have a little hall pass, and go watch some BYU. Don't tell any other fans that, but no, seriously, West Virginia is my favorite team. I just joke. I do enjoy watching BYU play some ball, especially, they had me when they were giving ice creams away a couple weeks ago. I think that's why, because I just love ice cream. And if you love ice cream, I love ice cream. I love you. That's just the way math works. But no. So Mondays, like clockwork, 9 o'clock. On Thursdays, we are here at 8 for the West Virginia Live call-in show. So, yeah, after this saying, Shane's having an existential crisis. Well, I couldn't say that 3 times in a row if you paid me. But Eric, any other thoughts for last week's game before Thursday we move on to TCU and those cool Cole Rush Munis?
Oh, I can't wait. First of all, Afton, please try to keep the words to 2 or less. We prefer monosyllabic words. That's an awfully big word for us. But really, UCF, kudos to them. We had them. I think it was 4-0. So it's it's understandable. But looking forward to moving on. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can build on. I am a Scotty Fox fan. I like seeing Khalil run, so I want to see how those two compete with each other to try to elevate the team.
No, I really enjoy watching both those kids come in. The fact they're freshmen and there's just nothing but upward mobility for them. You have a couple, they get some losses under the belt. Come on, guys. We've all done something. We start something, we suck at it. And then we get a little bit better. So everybody's ceiling's at a different point. But you always start right here. Everybody starts at the bottom. Some people get up here, some people get here. But the one thing we all do is we all suck at one point. No matter what you're doing, you're not good at it. So with that, I have a little bit of patience. My wife says I have no patience, but I have a little bit of patience. And I'm being patient because 6 months, a year, things are going to get better. West Virginia's going to put some money down on the table. They're going to pay some big studs to play on the line. The guys they have there are learning. So maybe they're getting some game experience that they can use next year. Maybe they retain those guys. Maybe they don't. But at the end of the day, the Mountaineers are going to be competitive. They're still one of the most winningest programs in college football. I think they're 19th or 18th or somewhere in there. They were 15 one time. I think they're kind of falling down a little bit. But guys, you're spoiled. Mountaineer fans are a little bit spoiled because we've had success. Not the success of a national championship, but Rich Rod had 3 11-win seasons. Started off he went from the outhouse to the penthouse. Now he's back in the outhouse. We're going to get there, guys. I'll be here. Eric will be here, and we'll see you Thursday. And we're going to end the show, Eric, with what?
Got to see that flag. Hit me.
Let's see the flag. Hey, later, chat. Later, Eric.
See you guys.